Chelsea civil war. What the hell is going on there? You got Todd Bowley, Egbali.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fairly open secret in football that those two haven't been speaking for a long time.
Can you explain it to me? Like I'm stupid.
So
I don't know what's going on.
Chelsea are owned by a consortium, and within that consortium, Clear Lake Capital, in which Egbali is the front man of.
He's the main man.
Yeah. And then Todd Bowley is representative of another, and they've come together to create. The full politics of it, I don't really know. What I do know is that the two approaches have been there for all to see. So when this takeover first happened, you'll know that there's been a huge difference in strategy. So when Todd Bowley was the man and he actually made himself de facto sporting director, do you remember our approach was like Hollywood, razzmatazz. We were going to be... It was all that Cristiano Ronaldo chat. Remember that?
Yeah.
Cristiano Ronaldo up front. And that was a genuine thing. So we wanted Cristiano Ronaldo up front. And Bowley's approach was sign big names. Make us the Hollywood club. You know, there was a link to Neymar at one point as well. That's what he wanted to do.
That was Todd Bowley.
That was Todd Bowley.
Yeah.
So his approach has been that. And I think he's made so many mistakes. I don't really want him anywhere near the club. But overall, what Todd Bowley's attitude is, it sort of makes sense. He signed a lot of players that Thomas Tuchel wanted. Remember when we signed Koulibaly, Aubameyang, Raheem Sterling? Each of them didn't work for different reasons. But I think as a principle, they all made sense. So when we signed Raheem Sterling, he just won the league at City. He was one of their best players, one of the most well-used players by Guardiola. When Guardiola had the choice of choosing Raheem Sterling, Phil Foden, Jack Grealish, he chose Raheem Sterling. So when Chelsea signed him, people will now position it as saying it was a ridiculous signing, it was never going to work. But that's because people like to be right.
You were excited by that signing.
I thought it was a good signing.
Yeah.
He was an ever-present for Man City.
Good fee as well, 40.
20 goals a season. Like, it was I think he'll be a good player for you, by the way. Like, you know when a player scores 20 goals a season for 7 years and then doesn't, maybe the problem's you, not him. So now he's going into a club where it's more settled, we'll see. So, although Koulibaly didn't work and Sterling didn't work and Aubameyang was a ridiculous one, kind of made sense on some level.
Because Koulibaly was well sought after on the international market.
Exactly. Yeah. Koulibaly was one of the most highly coveted centre-halves in world football for years. Aubameyang had a pre-existing relationship with Thomas Tuchel that had worked. Raheem Sterling, for the reasons we've just spoken about. It all made sense. That didn't work, and the other strategy now is the worst ever.
Whose strategy is this?
The other strategy
Egbali.
is Egbali, which is what seems to be stockpile young talent, buy as many Brazilian children as you can, get them to play one season for Strasbourg.
A bit like Madonna, innit?
Get them to play one season for Strasbourg and flip them for a profit. That's the other strategy. So absolutely nothing is about building the best team for Chelsea. And those two have become like sharks and jets now. So it's Montagues and Capulets. It's like you can only pick one or the other. There is only one or the other.
Where did the Chelsea support? What side did they fall on?
I think
or is it
we hate them both.
Yeah.
We literally hate them both. The one that you have to prefer, though, is Todd Bowley. Because I think Todd Bowley, at least on some level, have an understanding of sport. I know that there's no real comparison between baseball
Also, he's the guy that thought you were in the Champions League every year.
He's the guy that thought we were in the Champions League every year. He's the guy... So he's that... Yeah, that's
4-4-3.
4-4-3.
He's also
guy.
4-4-3.
Yeah.
3-0 against Madrid.
It's your favourite magazine, isn't it, bro?
Yeah, him.
But he didn't want Poch sacked, did he?
That's where this all came from. He did... Like, the reason why this has come to a head, they haven't spoken for a year. The reason why it's come to a head is...
Good way to run a business, I guess.
Man.
Painful, mate. But the reason why it's come to a head is Pochettino shouldn't have been sacked. And you know that I was never a fan of Pochettino. He's far too Tottenham for me.
Did he walk or was he sacked?
No, he was...
Both?
Mutual consent.
He walked to the end as well.
Pushed. Because Pochettino made it impossible for this Clear Lake vision to be materialised. So the Clear Lake vision is taking assets from Cobham and making money. The winning formula that Mauricio Pochettino found at the end of last season, which we played some brilliant football at the end of last season, which everyone will forget, but like we battered Tottenham. We battered West Ham. Like we battered Everton. Like genuinely battered them. And what happened? Conor Gallagher played every game. He played every game of the season, in fact, but he played every game then. Enzo Fernandez didn't play one, literally not one. Trevor Chalobah played every game. Last 6 games of the season, we didn't lose a game. Trevor Chalobah was drafted into the team. Pochettino found his winning formula, and he said that those are the players that are going to have to remain. That goes totally against the vision of the sporting directors. And you know that I don't like Pochettino, but I'll ask you 3, right? We all have different visions of him. I'd say that whatever you think of him, however lowly you rank him, you have to see him as the top 15 managers in world football.
Yeah.
Is that
Top
fair?
10 maybe.
Yeah.
Top 10 maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, top 20 if you really don't like him, but something like that. So he's one of the most...
He's in the bracket just outside the elite.
With
a lot
and
of
therefore
managers.
one of the most insightful footballing minds in the world, because he is that,
Yeah.
right? We're not trusting him. Do you know who we're trusting? These 2 sporting directors, right? Stuart and Win Stanley. I didn't know much about them, so I Googled the geezer. Do you want to? So Pochettino, he was the fella that played for Argentina, was involved in that Michael Owen incident in 2002. All his successes with Paris Saint-Germain, Tottenham, the job he did at Southampton, whatever else, right? So proper football. Do you know who we're backing? So not him, not the guy that we've just discussed. These sporting directors. Guess what the record is? So we've spoken about Pochettino's. Guess what the CV is? I had a look. It's a fucking BTEC from Liverpool Polytechnic in football science. I kid you not. I'm serious.
How do they get the job? What's their route? They were advising another club? Brighton.
Right.
It's a very strange strategy.
A BTEC out of Liverpool Polytechnic. I couldn't, when I looked, I was like, hang on a minute. I looked to do
Like
the
an
course.
MVQ
It takes
in
1 year.
physical
I
education.
could do
The
it for 1
HND.
year for £4,000. I'm as qualified as him then. That's what it is.
Crazy.
So we are giving the keys to the kingdom to these 2 sporting
It
directors.
feels very Glazers and Woodward at the moment.
It's even more bizarre.
Like, even more bizarre. But
is.
because also, how much does each one own?
That's
Are
what I
they
was gonna
equal owners?
No,
Are they?
I think that it's
Sorry if you don't know.
no,
that,
I don't
like-
know off the top of my head. I think that Egg Barley owns a bit more, but they're now going to have a fight to the death, and one will reign supreme. The reason why it could be Bowley, despite having less, is Bowley has the links with the Saudis. So if it becomes a money thing, if Bowley can tap into that, maybe he can. But basically, one is going to buy the other out. Neither want to sell.
I was watching a music podcast. Might have been the Joe Budden. I was watching a podcast about music, and they started talking about Todd Bowley. And I remember
Right.
thinking, this guy, because his fingers are in so many different pies.
Yeah.
I think they were talking about touring and concerts and music
Right.
and stuff, and they just started talking about him.
Yeah.
And he was like, his hands are in so many different pies, and he's all over.
But this is the problem in a way. I'm fully aware that Todd Bowley and Bedad Bali, as soon as you take it away from football, they must be brilliant men. They're billionaires. They are almost invariably the cleverest men in any room they walk in. The problem is that vision doesn't work in football. We know football, and we know that doesn't work. Football is one of the very few things where, in life, often if you throw enough money at a problem, the problem goes away. Football isn't like that. We've seen countless examples. We've seen Queen's Park Rangers under Harry Redknapp. They threw so much money at it. Palladini and all that. They went down. Chris Samba isn't the solution to every problem. And basically, this approach from the venture capitalists, throw money after it, it doesn't work. But no, the club is now probably, those famous images which people weirdly like to use against me, despite the fact that it's one of the proudest things one of the proudest moments I think I have of supporting Chelsea. Like Save the Bridge, when the fans saved the football club from ruin, which I think is something to be proud of. The club is in as bad a state now as it was then.
And neither side are entertaining the other side
No.
in terms of...
No, it's like hatred. I think it's actual hatred. Like the days of them walking across the pitch together to go and berate icons of the game, like Raheem Sterling was the famous one. I think we lost a cup game at home, and there's this picture of Bedad Bali and Todd Bowley strutting across Stamford Bridge, going down the tunnel and taking it out on Raheem Sterling. Can you imagine Sterling looking at them, going, "Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Do you know how good I am at football, you dickhead?"
Yeah.
Do
Do you even know the name of the team we just played?
Yeah. But they now don't see separate boxes and all that. Literally don't see separate entrances to the stadium. It's proper
I feel like there's not even being much made of it, in the media and stuff, because Chelsea should be a big story. And obviously they're not fighting for the league, which maybe knocks them down a peg or two in terms of how you get spoken
coverage
about.
in terms of coverage.
But
this
it still should be a big story because you're looking at two businessmen that are going to war, and the only thing that's going to suffer in the meantime is the football club and the fans and everything else. Like, it's not going to be a happy place to be for anyone.
No. It's a complete.
And it's already on its arse.
It's also irreparable. It's also irreparable until one leaves, and this is going to be a drawn out, protracted issue that this could last years.
Is this Saudi Bowley thing? Is that hope from you more than anything?
Yeah, it's total hope.
Is it PIF?
It's
Newcastle.
No, it can't be that.
But it is.
No, it's not that. Yeah, it is that.
Their cousin.
Yeah.
They've made up a
But no,
prince.
it's just hope. My actual hope is, and when they bought the club, there was this 10-year rule, and I don't know the mechanics of this deal, but I think it's that they're not allowed to sell the club within 10 years to stop just flipping it.
Yeah.
But I think that there may be a loophole, and the loophole might be you can't profit. So you could sell it today, but you are not allowed to make a penny. If that is true, that's the best outcome here. That they both just go, that was a terrible experiment.
Here's what you lost.
Here's what you lost.
Move on.
Yeah.
As obviously you're a closer rival in terms of Chelsea, but City and United fans have had their times in Chelsea. Well, how do you guys look at this as not neutrals, but rivals? And do you kind of rub your hands in glee and think, yes, this is amazing, can't wait to read about this? Or do you feel a little bit of sympathy for Chelsea fans and all this who's popping off?
I'm not gonna lie. When it first started, I enjoyed it.
I'm still enjoying it.
Now I don't care too much. Now we're challenging for a title and whatnot. That's the expectation. I mean, one of the biggest moments in terms of me supporting Arsenal and the fall off was when the money came into Chelsea, and I just remember the way Chelsea just took that money on. Our downfall began, and Chelsea's trajectory began to the top. And we know the 2 Champions Leagues.
All the players we wanted, they'd get.
Yeah.
We wanted Robin. Is that Stamford Bridge all of a sudden?
Remember that?
Messi,
It's
and all
not
these
FIFA
different-
talk. They took
McKola.
the league for FIFA. Makalele and Robben and Duff the other side, and Drogba comes in and so
Who
on.
have United scouted? Oh yeah, we'll buy him.
Yeah.
So I hated them. But obviously, the fans around me were United fans growing up in school, and they'd use that. You're not the biggest team in London no more. You're not the best team in London no more. So now I'm kind of there's a satisfaction I'm taking.
I think that
me
as
too.
rival
Chelsea back in
fans,
the
I
mud.
feel like you can always enjoy the downfall of a club. I just think that what you want, I think, is the downfall to be on the pitch, not in the board.
Also, like you always want them there to take the piss out of. So you want to see them down.
No, I think.
But how far down? Like,
It's like the fundamental existence of Chelsea Football Club is genuinely in jeopardy. I think, like in terms of who the club are.
is that how you?
Yeah, I think the identity of the club has been like totally ripped out.
Of course, it has. And there is a part of me that feels for you because this is an American billionaire problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know,
And you've had your own
American
moments. You've
billionaire,
had your own moments.
We've all had, you know,
Yeah, like, I
Liverpool
remember,
even. So
like you know, Leeds as an example. Like Leeds are a huge rival of ours. There is a lot of Chelsea fans will tell you they're our biggest rival. I'd say it's Tottenham. A lot of Chelsea fans, particularly if they're 2 decades older than me, they'll say Leeds. Well, you know when Leeds were having their major issues, whether it was Ridsdale or whether it was Radratsani. I don't want Leeds to succeed. I want them to be in the Premier League getting beaten every week. But I don't want Leeds to potentially fold. Or
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Nah, of
Like,
course,
yeah, I
yeah.
get that.
and I
with you.
look, Chelsea aren't in danger of folding, but we are in danger of becoming an unrecognisable institution. Like just the way that they're treating the fans. You know, the people that like to go to away games, it sounds like my worst nightmare in the world, but to go to an away game on like organised travel, like the club.
Yeah.
You get to Stamford Bridge at 5 a.m. and they bus you to St James's Park.
Get to the ground for
Not
3
for
hours.
me. Yeah, not for me, but lots of people rely on that. They've stopped subsidising it. 300 grand a year. 1 week of Raheem Sterling's wages. They don't subsidise it anymore. You know, these little things really do have an impact on
course they do, yeah.
the feeling around the club and the relationship that the fans have with the club.
And there will also be fans that, because I don't want to bloody stereotype everyone, but the type of fans that get those trips
They need those.
will go to the academy game, will go to the women's game, they'll go to every single game you can imagine.
and
They'll be there.
they'll spend £1 billion in the club shop.
And now
every year.
they have to pay for their own travel. They're not going to the academy games. They're not going to the women's games. So now all your other teams have.
Yeah. I
And the
completely
manager's under pressure if you lose to Bournemouth. Just a hard game on the weekend. No, I'm not whining.
I'm not
whining
even. I know
They
he
just
likes.
drew
I know he
Palace.
likes to wind me up. We all know what he's like, but I kind of think he's telling the truth. Yeah.
He's under a lot of pressure. They drew to Palace.
I think Maresca's under pressure.
Mate, we haven't
Yeah,
we,
he
we haven't won a home game yet, and because of the way the fixtures fall, I don't think he can win a home game now until October.
You've not kept a clean sheet away in the Premier League since October last year.
All right, mate. What are you, some sort of stato?
My mate's telling me that.
Can you see this? I know you've signed a lot of players, so maybe you don't need to sign anymore. But can you, if this drags on, can you see it having an impact on how you spend money as a club? Because you've got two owners that are going,
of course.
I want to buy you out, you want to buy me out, and now you've got a manager in January or the next summer.
Well, nobody's going to want to spend money on a club that isn't theirs, or a club that they can see themselves not being part of in a year. So no, that will be a problem. We've signed a lot of good players though, and I wonder if part of the reason that we've signed so many is that they know there's a transfer ban coming.
Yeah.
I'm maybe looking for a method in a ridiculous.
But the trouble is, Maresca's told half of them to piss off now, hasn't he?
He has, and I imagine he'll be sacked.
Someone had to
in
do that.
November. So yeah.
I think Maresca did the right thing, man.
He picked the wrong players to do it.
Then maybe, but someone had to come in and go, these are my 25 players.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's
but he's
ruthless,
picked the
but
wrong-
these are my players.
No, but you're right. Someone had to do that, but he's done it in the most cowardly way because he's picked the exact players that the sporting directors want him to pick. So Enzo Fernandez stays, McKola Mudryk stays. Raheem Sterling's obviously a better player than McKola Mudryk, isn't he? Conor Gallagher's obviously a better player than Enzo
Wouldn't you
Fernandez,
rather? Don't you need a manager that's going to work within the constraints they've got? Because if a manager rocks the boat, you're only going to have more.
The trouble is,
If he starts
if you have
getting in a war with the board,
if you have an unprincipled yes man in charge, ultimately like checks and balances in like Parliament. You need that in a football club, right? You need the manager to check the owners to check the manager. Everyone keeps each other in check. If you just have one mouthpiece, which is effectively what Maresca is, we have the mouthpiece of the board, which is now the mouthpiece.
they're holding him and talking through.
So they've got the sporting directors.
He's a puppet, isn't he? He's a puppet. You know, if you don't
But
stand for something,
point
you'll
is,
fall
like,
for
don't
anything,
you
Adam.
have to, in a certain way, don't the fans want him to kind of be that? Because if he's not, and he gets into another war, and you've got a war between the two owners, and you've got a war between the manager and owners, the club just becomes a shit show.
But the
So
weird
you
thing
almost
is-
have to get someone to kind of go,
No, but he's a
all right, I have
he's a
to deal with
puppet,
this.
and he's an average manager. He's a championship manager. Upon recording, he's a championship. He's achieved something in the championship, second division of football.
There's a lot of arrogance there, the decisions he's made, though.
Yeah.
Sterling, Chalobah, Conor
Mate,
Gallagher,
Chilwell.
Enzo captain
Chilwell.
is nasty.
Enzo captain is disgusting.
Nasty,
He's
man.
bringing it on himself. Do you know what I mean? You know, going back to Arteta and
give
the
it someone else.
spending of 700 million and whatnot. You know, that's the advantage that Arteta had and we had in this is that obviously our owners knew you're gonna gut this side out. Your players are gonna come in. So imagine all of us go into a new workplace. There's 25 man there. You have to manage them. It's a lot more difficult than being told, go into that workplace, decide who you want to keep out of them and bring in everyone you want to bring in over the years. Now, that's what I think both United and Chelsea are going to have to do at some point, reset and allow it to happen, which is going to take further years to come. But it's all still messy with Chelsea. It's
Really
just you've thrown another manager in. He's come in chest out, making wild decisions, in my opinion, and he's going to fall flat on his face. It's inevitable for me.
Who wins the Premier League first, Man United or Chelsea?
You feel with the organisation United have now that
You're a bit ahead.
probably
Yeah.
Manchester United.
They're ahead in this
lean.
journey,
I feel like
aren't they?
Chelsea got a few more exciting, younger. I don't know.
You could lean to United, but again,
You'd
But
look
they
at
they finished
you'd look
above
at
you
like
last
Ratcliffe, Barada, and all these. Like, bruv, these have got the equivalent of Ed Woodward running about.
I know.
Like, United have appointed
You're way
the
ahead
right
in terms of the
people
executives,
into
no question.
positions.
Omar Barada's exciting in that turn.
Who's got a
Will
better squad?
Cox.
Like, if you just
Probably
look at Chelsea's
Chelsea.
players.
Probably Chelsea. I mean, I'd chop your hand off for Lavia, Caicedo in midfield.
Madueke starts.
Neto.
I don't know too much about Madueke.
Neto starts.
But I mean, who's your right winger? I'll take him.
Madueke.
Whoever it is, I'll take him.
Madueke, yeah.
Madueke.
Because ours is Anthony.
Neto on the
So
left.
whoever you got,
Madueke, Neto.
Jackson.
half
Cole
white Sterling.
Cole Palmer, obviously.
Cole Palmer, yeah.
I was half white.
There's some very good players.
Colwill.
There's some very good. I mean, there's also some very average players, but there's also some good players.
Yeah, it's not bad.
How do you see this? If you have a prediction for the next 6 months, or what is your prediction
Enzo Maresca be sacked by February.
in terms of the board? Is this going to get messier?
This won't resolve this season.
Oh, Jesus.
I can't wait. Yeah.